We know that temperatures are definitely going to be warming up today with 90s, and a lot of times folks need to start thinking about their car today, and maybe this month's a good time to prep.
We hate to say it, you know it's coming. We're going to get those 100-degree temps pretty soon. We know that cars can heat up quick. That can cause some complications. We don't want you to run into any issues while you're out on the roads, and local car experts say there are ways to prevent this. So Elena is joining us live from Phoenix with how drivers can save their cars this summer. Elena, are you ready for the triple digits?
I mean, who exactly is, honestly? But good morning to you guys. I didn't just schedule the story for everyone to learn a thing or two about how to take care of your car, but it's also for myself. I really should keep this in mind before I go into this first summer here. But we're at High Tech Car Care here in Phoenix, and we're talking to the owner today to talk about some of those things that, you know, you really should keep in mind because, you know, there's some damage that could happen with the heat. So what should people know first thing when it comes to their cars and extreme heat this summer?
Well, cars like temperatures much like we do. You know, 80 degrees, that's really comfortable. That's great. You get over 100, they hate it just as much as we do. Now, every fluid in a car, be it your coolant, even your brake fluid, every fluid, well, other than wiper fluid, is actually helping cool the components. So power steering fluid, brake fluid, they all help move heat from those particular systems. Coolant is one of the most obvious because that helps keep the engine cool, and failing to maintain that can cost you in the long run. And sometimes people think coolant is what helps keep the car cool. Well, that's the car itself, not for you. You like refrigerant. That refrigerant is the air conditioning system that helps keep you cool. And both of those are important, but if you don't have the car cool, it can't keep you cool. That air conditioning system will not work when it starts to get overheated.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to touch on was obviously we're looking at the inside of a car right now. So let's just kind of point out the fluids, the you know, everything that people should keep in mind, because it sounds like everything that you're saying is it can be preventable.
Right. You can maintain your fluids. Some of them you can tell by looking at it. Most of those we have ways of testing, litmus test strips, things like that. Washer fluid, coolant. This is the power steering. This is your brake fluid. Engine oil and transmission fluid you can't see as easily, but they're very easy to pull a sample of.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one thing that I wanted to touch on, you guys, we can't make this up. There's actually a car in the shop right now that actually got overheated. And so, Jim, why don't you point out exactly what happened here and what needs to be done?
Okay, this car, it was running hot for a period of time, and then it actually overheated. And when it overheated, the head gasket actually blew. So we had to take the intake manifold and the cylinder head off in order to get down to the head gasket, which is this piece that goes between the cylinder head and the block. Now that helps keep compression in place, but it also helps keep coolant from getting into the engine. The cooling system runs about 17 pounds of pressure. The engine's over 100 pounds of pressure. So usually you get exhaust gas into the cooling system, and it makes everything run super hot.
And of course, drivers are probably thinking of like the dollar amount. You know, they don't want to try to fix their cars if they don't have to, you know, this summer. So like, I mean, for that kind of damage, how much would it cost the average person?
Well, depending on the car, some of them are wicked expensive and some of them are just painfully expensive. So there's no cheap way to replace a head gasket. But if you replace your coolant regularly, all it really takes is to drain the old stuff out, put new stuff in. Whereas if you haven't done it for a period of time, we use chemicals to help clean up the system. There may be some components like thermostats or radiator caps that need to be replaced for lack of maintenance. So it's a little more expensive. And then if you fail to maintain overall, you can get into something that's serious expensive.
All right, thank you so much. And of course, that's why we're doing this story. So try to save you guys as much money as possible, because who really wants to go, you know, to an auto shop and try to get their car fixed? I mean, it's never really a fun experience in general. But guess what? All these things that we're talking about, it is preventable. And so we're actually going to touch on those things that you can do right from home to help keep your car from getting in a situation like here in this garage. Back to you guys.
Okay, I have been one of those people that's driven to Flagstaff and come back with 2 new tires and a new battery.
Oh, that sounds fun. Yeah, and expensive as well. Elena, good advice as we gear up for the summer. Not too far away.